Hello there. Well, hello there. This is Vin and Pip's channel, Covenants of Promise. And today I'm just going to be reading a little bit about Moses. We're going to be reading Exodus 3 up to verse 6. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him. Now, the angel of the Lord, again, I've spoke about this before, it's saying the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. Now, I've had a little look into this, and it's commonly believed that this was a thorn bush, like a briar. You know, so like I've spoken about it before, like in Isaiah 55, about the thorns and the briars being the nations, you know, and being the prickly bushes, like in Isaiah 55, instead of the thorn shall come up the myrtle tree, and instead of the briar shall come up the fir tree, and like in Songs of Solomon, where the lily amongst the thorns, you know, like, so there's these beautiful trees amongst the briar. And then you've got the angel of God, yeah, the angel of God, which is Messiah as far as I'm concerned, because it's the angel of God, and he is the angel of God, isn't he? Let's have it right. You know, with the crown of thorns, with the sins of the world upon his head. Because when it talks about him as well, you know, I think it's Revelation 5, you know, and John's weeping, and he says, you know, like, there's nobody worthy to open the book or even loose the seven seals thereof. And all the elders and the four angels, you know, all bow down. One of them says to him, an angel cries with a loud voice, and he says, there is someone, but he said, don't weep, there's somebody worthy. The Lamb is worthy to open the book. And then he went and he takes the book out of the right hand of Jehovah. Yeah, he just goes and takes the book. Like, you can do that, you know. Takes the book, and he has the right to open the book, you know. And is it the 24 elders? Can't remember the numbers now. And the four angels and all the elders, they all fall on the face, and they all. It says that they have vials and harps, which explains that they're the praise of all the sanctified and the angels, saying the words, the Lamb is worthy to open the book, because he's the angel of God, man. You know what I mean? The angel. So anyway, I was just talking about the thorns and the briars. So what you've got to realise is Moses is up on Hebron, like, and that's the mountain of mercy, yeah. So you've got the mountain 6 miles away, which is Sinai, and you know that's where all the earthquakes happen, and that's where the sacrificial law was given, and that anyone who sets foot on that mountain is going to die. But he always wanted mercy and not sacrifice. You see, on Mount Sinai was the wrath of God. It's a terrible things to fall into the hands of the living God, and that's what was happening on that mountain. You know, it was a curse, it was bondage. Even though some people in the world want to keep hold of that curse and keep hold of that bondage and not accept the freedom and the liberty of Messiah, which was always on Hebron. And that's the mountain of mercy, you see. And he came as the burning bush. But we'll continue anyway, because I'm digressing too much. And behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see the great sight, why the bush is not burned. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. He said, Here I am. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for this place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Right. You see, so we can say, I was reading about Elijah in what is it now, 2 Kings, about how it took him 40 days to get to Horeb, where a small voice came to him, you know, and it says the word was there on Horeb, and the word, that small voice says to him, I think he says, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? But as well, he was in that same place, so it took him 40 days to get there, but he was also in the place where it took Moses 40 days and nights to receive the commandments. But obviously then you know, they transgressed and they got punished on Mount Sinai. But what I'm trying to relay is about the two mountains, and one being where the living waters was given, or was about to be given, which is his covenant, and the other mountain was punishment and the wrath, you know. But I mean, the people chose that for themselves, and so one's the mountain of mercy, and one's the mountain of death and punishment. And so until next time, anyway, I'll just leave it there.